sound fault.
Hello, my lovely children everywhere. This is Hetty bringing you another story from Tale Waves. It is full of enchantment, adventure, naughty behaviour, wickedness, happiness, friendship, love, beautiful music, and lots of magical fairies who live on and in an icicle fountain. But when the icicles melt, they disappear as if they were never there. The fountain stands in the grounds of Bushwood Manor, where a little girl called Lily Lavender lives with her father and their housekeeper, Daphne Crumble. And it is Daphne who is going to read our story today. Welcome, Daphne, to Tale Waves, and thank you for that delicious-looking apple crumble. Why, lass, you're most welcome, and it's a real pleasure for me to come and read this very special tale. It was given to me by our local storyteller and writer on the condition that only I would read it for you and the children. He loves my northern accent. I only hope that I perform it well. I love young Lily and her father. I've worked and lived with them for 6 years now since Miss Lily was born. I'm a lucky woman. Well, as Hetty says, my lovely children, this is the story of the Icicle Fairy Fountain. The snow was falling gently around the beautiful fountain which stood in the grounds of the ancient Bushwood Manor. There were 2 faces pressed against one of the leaded window panes. 2 faces, silent but full of wonder at the winter picture which fell upon their vision. The fountain, which had 3 tiers, was bedecked with glistening, sparkling icicles that hung suspended like necklaces of crystal brilliance. Now and again a droplet of water would release itself from the pointed tips of the icicles and splash quietly upon the surface of the frozen water. One of the faces at the window was a young girl. Her name was Lily Lavender. She was 6 years old and lived at the manor with her father, Lord Lavender, the housekeeper, Mrs. Crumble, and Mr. Dawes, the butler. Oh, and of course, Sniffer the dog, who slept most of the time. The other face was somewhat older, and that of Lord Lavender, her father, who was a handsome man with a noble forehead. Suddenly, Lily started to jump up and down with excitement. Then she sat down and quietly opened the window. She whispered to her father and said, "Look, Daddy, aren't they beautiful?" She pointed to the fountain with such joy in her eyes. "Yes, dear, they are the very best icicles that we have ever had. That is because it has been the coldest winter since you were born," said Lord Lavender with great reflection. "No, Daddy, not the icicles, the fairies, the fairies! Look, they are sliding down the icicles, skating across the ice, and then flying up to the top of the fountain. Oh, they are having such fun! Can I go out to see them?" cried Lily. Lord Lavender laughed quietly, patting Lily on the head. He knew his daughter was often literally away with the fairies. "Of course, dear, but I fear you'll be very disappointed. It's too cold for fairies, but the icicles are splendid, and they deserve a closer look." "Go on then, but wrap up well," said her father. "Thank you, Daddy, I will. I'll put on the scarf that darling Mummy knitted for me," cried Lily, who vanished from the room with no hesitation at all. Lord Lavender smiled sadly as his gaze fell upon the magnificent portrait of his beautiful wife Isabella, who had passed away giving birth to Lily. How he missed her laughter and kindness. He missed their long walks, their talks, the dancing, and their love of each other and life. He touched her hand on the portrait with great tenderness. Just then a cry from the garden rang out through the window. "Hi, Daddy! I'm here. I won't be too long." It was Lily, who turned and happily tiptoed towards the fountain, taking care not to frighten the fairies. Lord Lavender closed the window. Mrs. Crumble would be appearing any minute with tea cakes and a hot glass of winter wine. Absolutely to the second she entered the room, carrying a tray. "Oh, your lordship, bless my soul, young Miss Lily will not be for 6 at the speed she passed me at just now," Mrs. Crumble muttered and sighed, but her heart was made of pure gold. "She's away with the fairies, Mrs. Crumble. You know, Lily." "This looks splendid. Thank you. Sit down and join me. I need company today," said his lordship. And that's just what they did. Meanwhile, through the never-ending flurry of snowflakes, the shape of a young girl bending over the fountain could be seen in a winter whimsical wonderland. Lily truly was speaking to the fairies, and they truly loved her, for only a child with a kind and good heart could enter their world of enchantment and fantastical brightness. At the fountain, Lily stood with a fairy called Icicle, who was sitting on her shoulder, and another one sat on her left hand. He was called Icicle because his wings were bright and shiny. He looked deep into Lily's eyes. "I'm so glad you've come to visit us, childling, for it can be very lonely out here. No one wants to come out into the cold, and most people can't see us anyway," said Icicle sadly. "I'm glad too," cried Lily. "You are all so beautiful, but if everybody could see you, they may try to capture you and take you away." "Surely not," said Icicle, still sitting on her shoulder. "Human hearts do not think of such wicked deeds. On the whole, I find them most agreeable." And she flew down and landed on Lily's right hand. "My name is Icicle, the Wise One," said a serious-looking fairy. "I'm very old, and I know only too well the ways of the human hearts. You are too trusting, Icicle. It will be your downfall one of these days." "Oh, but how lovely to see only the good in people. I can see why they call you Icicle. It fits you perfectly," said Lily kindly. Icicle flew back to Lily's shoulder and kissed her on the cheek. "I love you, Lily," said Icicle sweetly. "And now it's time for our nightly dance, for the moon is calling to us. See how she smiles as she grows brighter through the snow curtain." "How do you know my name?" asked Lily. "I had the honour of whispering your name into your mother's ear just before she came to be with us. Then we carried her to the moon god. Look upon the face of the moon, Lily, for there you will see her. She is watching over you every day of your life." This was the voice of Icicle Fairy, a much-loved and kind fairy. Upon her head she wore a coronet of precious jewels that dazzled so brightly. "Here," said Icicle, handing Lily a jewel, "place a kiss upon it and hold it up to the moon." Lily, full of wonder, reached upwards with the jewel in her hand. "Mummy! Oh, Mummy! It's true! You are watching over me!" The tears were streaming down her face, for there, radiant and loving, appeared the vision of her beloved mother upon the face of the moon. "Dance, my darling one, dance with the fairies. Dance for joy," called her mother. And there came forth heavenly music, filling the air with sweetness. Fairies of all shapes and sizes gathered up the snowflakes and scattered them lovingly as they turned into the most beautiful and colourful flower petals ever seen. Lily did dance. Round and round the fountain she turned with balletic joy, jumping, springing, floating on the snow-laden pathway. Fairies were giggling and singing. Some of them slid down the hanging icicles, and others were skating across the icy frozen water on holly leaves. Such happiness filled the air, and Lily's mother looked on with such love in her heart. All of the Icicle fairies were there, doing their own special solo dances. There was Joyful Jicicle, Lazy Licicle, Freezing Fricicle, Three-Winged Tricicle, and at the very top of the fountain, Icicle, the king of the fairies. He sat cross-legged with his huge golden wand stretched out before him. His face took on the form of an angry storm. "Stop this revelry, childish, foolish emptiness. Have you forgotten your destiny? You are the guardians of the frozen world, to protect these fragile creations of nature. They may tremble and fall. See how a dark cloud approaches the moon. It will hide her face soon." Lily stopped, silent and desperate of heart. Slowly, the face of her mother faded from view. A darkness gathered around them like an old unwanted coat that had lost its usefulness. "Go, childling, there is nothing here for you now," ordered the King Icicle. The fairies gathered, hovering in a circle around the king, everyone except for Icicle, who was just about to slide down the largest icicle on the fountain when a thunderous cracking sound cut the air. It rang out so loudly that the trees of the neighbouring forest trembled with fear. "Got it! The biggest and the best icicle ever!" shouted the voice of Oliver Scratchit, the worst and most badly behaved boy in the village. He had snapped a 12-inch icicle away from the fountain, and much pleased with his plunder, started to run in the direction of the forest, laughing all of the way. "Stop! Oh, please stop! Can you hear me? Oh, please stop!" It was the terrified voice of Icicle, who was clinging to the icicle for dear life. Of course, the naughty boy could neither hear or see her. The fairies couldn't help her, as they had to stay near the ice to survive. And although Lily tried to follow Oliver, the snow had become blizzardous, so she could no longer see him, for he had disappeared into the woodland. Icicle clung to the icicle, for her life depended on it. As long as it did not melt, she could survive. But how could she make herself known to this wicked boy? But her heart told her that in truth a goodness lay within him, and that somehow she must seek it out. Thankfully, the wind was cold. She may be safe until morning, but she knew that she must return to the fountain before then. Oliver took out his torch from his jacket pocket and laid the icicle on the ground. A wicked thought came into his mind. Should I step on it? I don't like lovely things. He was just about to lift his foot to smash the icicle into pieces when he heard a noise behind him. Picking up the icicle to use as a weapon, he turned, and to his amazement, a great figure stood before him. "I am Spiriton, Lord of the forest, keeper of all creatures here. Your heart is cold and angry. Why must you destroy what nature has taken so much time to create?" Spiriton stepped forward and placed his sword of twisted oak branches upon Oliver's heart. "This sword has been passed down to me over hundreds of years. I could slay you with it in a second, but instead I choose to help you see the error of your wickedness and to set the path of goodness in your thoughts and wishes. You are without a father or mother, an orphan. I have no son to rule over this beautiful forest when I breathe my last breath. I would take thee as my son, if thou wilt have me as thy father. But you must banish any thoughts of wickedness from your mind." Oliver fell to his knees. He kissed the sword of ancient wood. Then he raised his head and looked thoughtfully into the eyes of Spiriton. "Sir, no one has ever been so kind to me in the whole of my life. How can you choose me, especially after I'd wanted to destroy this pure object of beauty?" cried Oliver. "For exactly that reason. You have opened your heart to beauty. I embrace you as my son," said Spiriton joyfully. "And I shall call you father. Oh, father!" cried Oliver. The two of them embraced each other tenderly. "Ow! You're squashing me! Ow!" It was the frightened voice of Icicle, who was starting to melt in his hand. And there he saw a fairy clinging to it, and her wings were starting to melt as well. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there. Please forgive me, cried Oliver. I do, childling, but it is most important that you return me to the frozen fountain. Otherwise, I will perish. I am an icicle fairy, created by the air, water, snow, and the wayward winter winds. I beg of you, take me home, sobbed Icicle. Go, my son. Restore this rare creature to her world. I will await your return with a happy heart. Oliver wrapped the icicle tenderly with snow and ran with the wind behind his back. The blizzard had started to swirl in every direction again, and it was extremely difficult to see the fountain. But he could hear the voice of Lily calling frantically, Icicle, oh, where are you? The fairies are weeping with desperation. Call to me if you can hear me. We are coming, Lily. Is the water still frozen? For Icicle is starting to melt, shouted Oliver. Oh, do hurry, Oliver. A few more minutes and the fairy fountain and the wonderful fairies will be lost, for the ice is starting to melt. Out of the blizzard came the trembling, exhausted figure of Oliver, holding the icicle as if it were the most precious jewel in the world. He could see the fountain now. The fairies were fluttering in a frenzy around Lily's head. They chattered in high-pitched voices as if the world was about to end. At last Oliver came to the side of the fountain. He placed Icicle and the icicle upon the ice, and like a great flock of migrating birds, the fairies flew down and disappeared into the depths of the water underneath, never to be seen again. But who knows, if next winter freezes, the fountain, perhaps. Lily looked into the water sadly, as a tear from her piercing blue eye fell upon it, causing a huge ripple to spread across the surface. Her heart leapt with great joy, for looking upwards through the watery mirror was the face of her precious mother, and guess who was sitting on her shoulder? Icicle! Be happy, darling one, for I am with the fairies, said her mother sweetly. Then they were gone. Every day Lily placed a water lily in the fountain, and she told her father of her adventure, to which he would smile and say, yes, dear. But that didn't matter, for she knew that fairies do exist, and she and Oliver became the best of friends, sharing their secret forever and ever. Enchanting! Oh, I do believe in fairies. I always have. And even more now. Do you, Daphne? If Miss Lily says she saw fairies, then I believe her. I remember dancing to the sugar plum fairy music as a child from the Nutcracker Ballet, Daphne. Oh, how lucky you were to study ballet. I always wanted to. Then you must visit the ballet as often as you can. I'll try, Hetty, but I don't get much free time. Oh, that reminds me, I'd better be off. There's a banquet to prepare for his lordship's birthday. Thanks for coming, Daphne, and have a safe journey home. Goodbye, Hetty. Goodbye, children. Well, my lovely children, I hope you dream about fairies tonight. Oh, children, just to mention, I'm sorry if it's been a little bit noisy in the studio today, but we've had builders in, so do forgive us, won't you? I'd also like to thank the wonderful staff of the Bush Hotel Farnham for the inspiration with which to create this story and for allowing me to touch the magical waters of their fairy fountain. Our next story in 2 weeks' time is called Sky Dancers, about the Northern Lights. So until then, keep listening, be happy, but most of all, be good.
Sound Vault.